All right. We are live. Thanks everyone for tuning in. Thanks Sherri and Laura for being here. How are you guys doing this evening?
Pretty good. Pretty good. Full day. It's good to be here though.
Yeah, good. And a lot going on. I feel like lots of balls in the air, like you're a juggler or something. But it's all good.
Yeah, sorry. I'm getting alerted over on my thing real quick. Okay, all right, good. We're good. I was going to attempt to do something new on Instagram. I don't have the skills yet to do that.
It'll change next week anyways.
Yeah, right? It will. It will. Somebody told me that TikTok is closer to being shut down. Is that for real?
I would love that. I can't stand TikTok. I can't wait. I haven't heard that though. That's great news to me. Did you hear something, Laura?
I have been hearing that the government's going to shut it down, that a US company either must buy it out or it shuts down. And I'm okay with that in a weird way because there's a lot of, in our field especially, we have to be careful what we are listening to on TikTok and other stations, but especially TikTok. I had kind of a crazy client about 3 weeks ago who got all of her spiritual awakening stuff from TikTok. And she's a hot mess, This 3-4 weeks ago, and we've been talking about it. It's like, you got to do the hard work. 30 seconds here, a minute there isn't going to do it for you.
No.
Those are great videos here and there because it's like small tidbits, but that cannot be everything.
And we can't be everything. No.
Those videos. There could be some sort of like background. I don't know. I just don't trust it. I won't listen to it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Daisy's here. So bad for our kids. Yeah, absolutely. Because, we don't know what all they're seeing, what all is spoken there. And yeah, I mean, if you haven't done the legwork to bring in discernment into your life, it can be an interesting field. Through my own, awakening, and I'm actually really excited to kind of dive into that in a little bit with you guys. But when you're on social media, even though you're not in person, you can still feel and read into the energies of the people you're interacting with, just both with their photo and just reading their words, right? So everything, the intention is all behind there. And, a lot of people I've just seen that don't have discernment, and they're holding on to, old energies with people, and they're not like feeling into those, reading into those. And so if you have not developed or fine-tuned your intuition and that skill with that discernment, it can be a really, let's just say, chaotic storm. They're showing me like Tasmanian devil, right? It can just, you don't know what's going to spin out of it.
Yep. I agree with that. It's, the discernment is critical. We discern everything in our mortal lives. Why do we hesitate to discern anything spiritual, right?
Yeah. So I wanted, we titled this, have we been talking about for years and years, the Great Awakening, right? And the last time that we joined and together, we talked about the golden age that's coming. But I want to ask you guys, and I really just have a great discussion. What are we awakening? Like when these energies are coming in, and just the past, oh my goodness, I think it was 2.5 days, almost 3 days solid this week, the Schumann resonance did not stop. It half the graph was a complete whiteout for 3 full days, which essentially, now granted, I am not a physicist, but essentially the energetic field of the earth was ding,
That was pretty good. That was spot on there.
Yeah.
It was in those higher chakras.
Don't activate the Schumann resonance when you do that next time.
Right. And being up in those higher graphs, that's all activating our crown, our third eye. It's, when I fell into it, it's, again, making room into that gray matter, into the brain, matter. And anytime that we are vibrating, we're shifting, and things are rearranging, and they're waking up. So what I'm going to start with you, Laura, first. What are we awakening?
I think we're awakening to a newfound sense of soul sovereignty. because humanity has been enslaved by these parasitic entities for millennia.
Yeah.
And we're all starting to wake up saying, wait a minute, we don't have to abide by this. We don't need to be afraid of that. And these dark entities have plagued this planet for millennia. There's no escaping it. And I think there's a lot of us here who have been coming lifetime after lifetime after lifetime to solve the problem, fix the problem. And now we're seeing people who now have, instead of mitigated free will, are becoming full on free will, being able to learn and discern and to create choices based out of wisdom and thought versus a knee-jerk reaction because I don't have something dark puppeting me.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there's a lot of freedom with that. And in this golden age, I think that's a huge part of it. And we're going to see a lot of old institutions break down and be rebuilt.
Yeah.
You know, part of feng shui is you take away something so something new can move in. Do we know what those are? Not yet. It's kind of like, you know, Santa Claus at Christmas time, right? We'll find out.
We'll find out.
Well, so, you know, so the banner down below, awakenandalign.net. So we are hosting this retreat because, you know, a large part is exactly what you're saying, Laura. You know, we're really, truly stepping into a truly free sovereign being. And when we are in a space now where we can truly like, what do I want? Because now my thoughts and my desires, because the heart mind connection is more tuned in and on fire. Okay, now I actually really do have to look at what I'm really focusing on, because that is instantly manifesting now. So what do I want?
That's the $1 million question. And we need to allow ourselves the gift of time to figure it out.
Yeah.
The gift of having explorations and experiences to figure this out.
Yeah.
And what I want now may change in 5 years or 2 months or whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
But when we get to the I want, part of what we need to I want about is what is for the greater good of humanity.
Yeah.
Not just my pocketbook or my, because that's very self-serving. How do we look outside of ourselves to
Mm-hmm.
create a better world for humanity, which I am a part of?
Yeah. I love that. I love that. I'm thinking the image of the ostrich head is in the sand, right? And I think sometimes when you start going into that, the dark night of the soul and the Kundalini awakening, when you start going into that and into your spiritual practice, I think it can kind of become really easy. And I feel that most people have this moment where they become so within themselves and inundated of everything is love and light. And I want to escape this. I don't want to be here anymore. So I'm just going to put my spiritual head in the sand, and I'm not going to participate in the world around me anymore. And so we're kind of coming to that place where like, okay, we got to kick the head back out of the sand and realize, we're here. We chose to be here. We chose to be on this earth and walk in this plane.
That's the big part of it. We chose to be here.
Mm-hmm.
We have to remember that.
Yeah. Yeah. Sherri, what is your take on, what are we awakening?
Yeah, I agree with everything you guys have said. And to me, it's really about reclaiming that sovereignty and having the courage to change. A big part of it is, putting our in older terms, big girl and big boy pants on and putting those sleeves back and having the courage to co-create something new. And that can be scary, what Laura said. It sounds wonderful, the idea of what do you want to create? But I guarantee you, ask a lot of people what it is that they want. And most people don't know exactly what that looks like because they are so embedded in the programming that we've had throughout our lives and for generations of time that it's always looked this way. So that's all we know. And it's hard to imagine a life that looks different and a life that isn't ruled by the financial system, or a life without disease. So a lot of times when I'm doing sessions with people and I help guide them as an architect of their own reality, I encourage them to think about that. What would you like your life to look like? What do you want to attract? And they literally at times cannot imagine life without the worry of money or being sick or being hurt or having anxiety, and then they get stuck and they said, I don't know what that would look like. And then we try to imagine it together. And I think that's what we can do right now, collectively and individually, is, well, what can we design, and what would it look like? Because I think all facets of life is changing and will change and will continue, and it's organic and it's ever changing. That's the point. Laura also made a good point. Nothing is going to, it's not like we're going to change and then that's how it's going to be, and then we're in another cycle. I think it's just like this continuous oscillation and change. As we evolve, we change, transition, and we evolve and we transition further, and we have experiences and we transition further. And to me, that's really exciting, but it can be very scary, because the unknowns can be scarier than the knowns that we have been used to, what we have been anchored to for such a long time.
Yeah. You know, I encouraged my husband to play hooky today, and we went and saw Gladiator 2 in the movie theater. And so, full disclosure, this is the second time I've seen it in the theater, because I love it. But while I was watching it, you know, part of the movie, you're just inundated with war, right? The expansion of war and power and greed, and thinking about what's kind of going on now. And, you know, I received months and months ago a strong message from actually the trees, but it was, you know, the age of war is over. And so, you know, looking at the program of, you know, we were really stuck in the true sense of duality, right? And so we had all of this war and overtaking, and, you know, as much as there is war, there is peace as well. But we're moving in, and I watched a movie last night with my daughters, and it ends with us, right? And so the whole movie, I love that movie, and it's all about ending cycles. And so many of us are here because we're the cycle breakers. Yes. We're finally here to do that. And so not only do we have to have the courage and the wherewithal to break that cycle, but that's not enough, because once we break it, then that's actually where the true work comes in, because then again, we're reimagining. Well, what does it look like? Just like Sherri, you were talking about, like, you know, we get used to, like, the devil we know, right? We get used to that pattern, to that trauma over and over again. And it's even braver to start imagining something brand new and walking that brand new path.
I saw that movie last night as well. And I thought, I was like, this is like, it was slow here and there, but the point of the movie was really beautiful. It really is about stopping generational curses, blocks, and ancestral healing. And we mentioned that already tonight. A lot of what we're doing right now is breaking those ancestral traumas and getting out of those loops. And then what happens next? And it was such a beautiful, I don't want to spoil alert for those of you that haven't seen it, but the ending is about what she decides to do next. And you'll see when you watch it. But the point is, she had a choice. There's a choice there. And the catalyst of her choice there was a reason and a catalyst of her choice. But the point being, she wanted something different. She chose that and she went for it. And we're all kind of in that situation right now with all facets of life, whether it's healing, relationships, parenting, how we parent, how are we as friends? How are we as mentors? How are we as leaders? How are we as animal parents? How are we, you know what I mean? Like all facets of life, we have that potential right now, breaking those cycles, or what I always like to call I refer to them as those 3D loops.
Yeah. And, you know, and in that movie too, I want to add, one of the choices was given to her on a beautiful silver platter, right? I mean, it came with everything that you would think that somebody would possibly want besides that one traumatic part. But you know what I mean? Like, so there were more reasons for her to stay in the comfort of the known than to fully leave and embrace something brand new. Yeah. But then you see, and I'm glad they showed it. I'm glad they showed it. They showed the light come in to her eyes when she was walking that braver path.
Exactly. Yeah. I don't want to give too much of it away. And people are lost right now.
You gotta go see a movie this weekend, apparently.
You're going to have to go see it. It's on Netflix, so you can just watch it at home.
Oh, is it? Okay. All right.
It's on Netflix. Yeah. It's on Netflix. It just came out on Netflix. So, I mean, yeah, it came out like 6 months ago or so, but yeah. But yeah, I'm visual, so I like to watch different movies and I look for new things. And another thing that we were talking about too is, we're coming into a place now where we don't really feel that the entertainment genres are going to be filled with this fear and doom and gloom feeding into that timeline anymore. I don't know how you guys feel into that. When I feel into that, they were showing me a loop, right? So everything that they would normally have done to keep pumping out that fear pattern and that doom and gloom, and it's looping right back into them. And I'm literally seeing like because we're on this timeline and it's cement, like not cemented, but and it can't, like everything just bounces off of it now.
I don't know about you guys, but I stopped watching all forms of TV and movies because I got tired of the doom and gloom. And it's like I would watch something, I feel like, God, I feel like I'm at work, right? Cleaning stuff up. And I think that shift that you're talking about, Abby, is a big deal. I mean, this is future proofs past in so many ways. And at the end of this era, we're hitting the golden age, and it's being mimicked within our media as well.
Yeah,
it's very interesting and timely, I think. And we talked about the currency and stuff like that, and I actually read a really interesting quote on currency, and it's about the thing we call money is just an information system for labor allocations, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I thought that was an interesting way to put it. So therefore, in theory, when we're looking at all forms of currencies, it's actually what is the information they represent. It's a different way to think about money.
Yeah.
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 And it's just, and it takes the emotion away from it. Finances are always emotional, no matter if it's highs or lows or anything in between, they're always emotional. And when we can take the emotion away from it, we actually gain our power back with that currency, because currency is literally flow or current, right? It's just energy. Yeah. So we can take the emotion out of it. You know what? This is just an allocation of information systems. It helps to desensitize it so we can utilize it in a more pragmatic way, opening ourselves up to different marketplaces and different avenues that we may not even know exist right now.
Yeah. I did a session. Have you guys ever heard of Psyche before?
No.
Psyche. So it's Psyche. It's I'm sorry, I can't remember the name of the man who developed this. It's a very, very simple modality, but it's working with the subconscious. And so you'll sit down with a practitioner and you'll pick a topic, right? So I just picked, when I was working with her, abundance, right? And I was wanting more abundance in my life. And so you ask a series of questions, and through that, what they're trying to do is actually get down and into the root of it. And she said, well, what do you think about when you think of money? And I'm like, well, money is actually feels very low vibration to me, because I've energetically felt it. Someone has handed me money, or I've handed money, and the energy goes down. Mm-hmm. I said, it's just very low vibrational. And I have issues with greedy people and all that stuff. And she's like, well, of course you're not going to get abundance in your life because you view money as being low vibrational. Like, it's icky. You don't like it. So why would you want something that you don't like? And so what you do is you go in, and then you're working with the subconscious. So you begin to say things to yourself, and you cross the body, right? So you do this with your hands. And so
I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
The different hemispheres. And so then you lock hands like this, and then you do it with the feet around the ankles as well. And you do like reverse for both of them. And you sit there and you hold that while you are thinking of your thought wanting to shift that. And while I was doing that, I had a Native American step in, and he dropped a feather down, and money then became a feather. And so therefore, then I saw money as that's just a gift from spirit, because that a feather is spiritual to me. And I love, I have two feathers back here, next to that I collect on my walks. And so at any rate, and then it completely shifted how I viewed that. And so then you go into the subconscious, because we might have a thought, saying like, no, I want abundance, but our subconscious didn't, because our subconscious views it as being low vibrational. So you're literally retraining the subconscious mind and creating new neural pathways.
It's
I
so
like
crazy that
that.
you said that, because I went through the same thing a while ago, and I had worked with somebody, and I said the same thing to them, like almost verbatim. I viewed money as like something negative, and I didn't want to charge. This was like a long time ago, like 8-9 years ago. I didn't want to charge for my sessions. You know, people make you feel bad. They're like, how can you charge this? And this woman, this coach, helped me, work with me about it. And she was like, well, if you don't value what you're doing as a profession, then why would anyone else? Number one. And number two, if you think of money and the exchange of money in this way, why would you attract the money? How are you going to make a living doing this? And I said, well, I don't want to make a living doing this. I just want to do this for fun. But then how are you going to make a living? I don't want to do anything else. Okay. Like, it was one of those things, like shifting the thought patterns of like, you can't just say you don't want to do something and then magically poof, something else happens. If it doesn't exist in this time, and like in this 3D, like you have, like, the money is how we do things, unfortunately, or fortunately, however you want to look at it, at least up until this point. So I literally went through the exact same thing, and I had to shift my entire mindset on money, attracting abundance, what that means. And I too was told to look at the money as a beautiful gift from spirit, as a gratitude or a thank you for the work and your contribution. And after I did that, I really valued my time, my energy, and the financial abundance that came through so much more. It was life-changing for me. I'm so glad you said that, because I went through the exact same thing.
You know, and also there's a lot of people out here that are listening that are form of healers too. And we've been pre-programmed to believe that, you know, this is a gift or whatever. We've been persecuted for charging or whatever. We did it in secret in past lives or whatever that is, all that stuff. But when you charge for services, we charge for every service. But when we charge for a service, we're keeping karma balanced. When there's tension, karma's out of balance. So when we keep it in balance, we're actually respecting one another. And it doesn't mean that, you know, some people can afford something more than others. And I totally get that. But to keep giving away any service over and over and over, it becomes self-abusive. And it's an important thing to be able to balance that out, even if it's a bartering or whatever you agree to. It's a big deal. Keep it balanced.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And, you know, and that's, again, part of this retreat is that's the alignment aspect, you know, in looking at, you know, we're going to spend 3 days with the people who come here and looking at where are we not aligned in your life path right now? Where do we need to look at perhaps that higher perspective, that alternate perspective, in order to maybe just do some subtle shifts and some subtle changes? But again, it's so important when it comes through you. So, you know, the three of us, we're just there to hold space, acting as if energetic shamans, right, for this retreat, and just helping the people who show up there come into that, their own vision themselves, working with their own subconscious. Because for me, I always, whenever I have sessions, it is more meaningful when I'm able to go into that space and see it clearly for myself versus someone just speaking it to me.
Right.
When I'm part of that. And, you know, and so some of the workshops and some of the things that we're going to be doing down in Florida will enable people to get themselves into that space, into that really quiet space. Because you mentioned earlier, time is one of our most precious commodities in this paradigm that we're in right now. In this reality, time is the most precious commodity. And when we are out doing life, you know, doing parenting, doing the job, taking care of the pets, taking care of all the things, it is very, very easy to not look at and give yourself the time to be quiet and to just be still. And it is a true gift, you know. And if I do a sound bath, I always say, you know, give yourself thanks because you did this for you. This is a form of self-care, of self-healing and self-health. So, you know, that's why, you know, I know the three of us, we were wanting to host and hold space more often so that people can come and give themselves back the gift of time.
Yeah, beautiful.
Yeah, and I'd like to add to that too, because one of the things I learned a lesson lately that I'll share with everybody. We all learn lessons, so we haven't figured it all out either. And I think one of the things about the time element is that we get so wrapped up into our everyday that we forget to appreciate the people in our life, and time goes by so fast. And I swear I just had my baby to almost 20 years ago, like yesterday, and he moved out. And it's been very hard for me to like get used to him not being around. But the good thing, the one thing that's come from all of the fact that he has moved out, there were times where we were two ships passing in the night, and this young man, we called him, was in his apartment, which is his bedroom down the hall. And he would sleep half the day, and then he would be out, and then we wouldn't see each other, and we're like, how's life? We wouldn't even talk that much sometimes. We just wrapped up in our lives. And I see him, and I'm closer to him now that he left, because he only comes once. He comes once a week since the day he moved out. Every Sunday is family day, and he has not missed a day. We don't even ask him anymore, because he just comes, and he wants to come. And we have like actual good, like quality time together. Mm-hmm. And we talk, and we're not on our phones. Like, we appreciate those moments, and we're getting closer as a family. And we're dedicating that time. And it's like, wow, I feel closer to him now than I did when he lived in this house. And it's just making me really appreciate not even just him, but my other kids and my husband and my pets. Like, sometimes I look at my dog, and I'll just be like, I love you so much. And like, I'm like, thank you so much for being here. And they're looking at me like, and everybody, like, it's really taught me a very valuable lesson because I'm self-proclaimed. I don't use labels, but definitely some version of ADHD. I mean, I'm here, I'm there. I'm doing a million things at once. I'm constantly doing way too much, and I don't prioritize. Sometimes I get burnt out, and I forget what's important. And my family and my children and my pets, my husband, like, the little things are really important. And I'm dedicating all this time to clients, and all this time to books, and all of this time to getting centers open. So much time. And then I just lose what's like right around me. So I just want to say that, because I genuinely like had this whole grand epiphany recently, and it's helping me prioritize my time, and also the time that I devote to myself. I'm going to take this hour today, and instead of sitting on my phone and drinking coffee, I'm going to go for a walk, or I'm going to do something that's beneficial for my wellness, or I'm going to go outside and play with the kids, something like that. And so I just think that's something we can do right now, because time is actually speeding up. And that's a thing too.
That is a whole thing, how fast time is speeding up. I ask my kids a lot, because I remember growing up, the school year felt like it just went on like a snail, right? And so I know that, they've always said the older you get, the faster time is perceived as moving. So I ask my kids to get their take, like, hey, is, your school year going by really, really slow? And they have always said, no, it keeps going faster. So even the children are perceiving time moving faster. And I don't know about you guys. I have problems with time. Is it permeance? Is that the word for it? I will remember somebody sending me a text message and reading it, and it's like, oh shoot, they text me like, gosh, it's been like 2 days. I need to respond back to them.
Terrible.
And I'll look, and it will be over 2 weeks. And it just goes.
I've been having a really tough time with time. Mm-hmm. I don't know what day it is. I don't know what time of day it is. And I have to keep checking. And I'm thinking, literally, it was a Monday, and it's like, oh, it's, I got to do trash. No, it's not till Thursday, kind of thing. It's like, what am I thinking? And it's been really hard to stay grounded with time lately.
Well, I'll tell you the reason why I did the movie today was last night I was getting ready to go to bed, and I always have an energy around Friday evenings. I just do, because, I'm stuck in that Monday to Friday weekend matrix program. And the feeling that I always get on a Friday, I had last evening. And the feeling that I get is, oh, sweet, I get to like sleep in and do whatever I want to tomorrow morning. I don't have the kid program. And I'm like, why do I feel like it's a Friday night? It is only Monday. And I'm like, oh God, this is going to be the longest week of my life. But yeah. So when I woke up this morning, it felt to me fully on, today is Saturday. Today is fun day. And so that's why I'm like, let's go to the movies.
Good for you.
Good. break the patterns. You know, that's good. That's like, you know, you broke that pattern. Let's do something fun.
Yeah, I know there are like two other people in the movie theater with us today too.
Love it.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, I understand the time, and it's not constant, it's not stable, it ebbs and flows, it comes and goes. Yeah, and you know, like Dragonfly saying, yeah, an hour can feel like 15 minutes, or there's not enough days in the hours, right?
Mm-hmm.
I have a question for you guys too. I'm curious what you think, and people watching, because I just had a conversation with a few friends the other day. Are you guys, I know we have daylight savings, and I know things get pushed back, it just got pushed back, or wait, forward this time. Are you guys noticing that the sunset time has changed exponentially, and it's not just feeling like an hour, it's feeling like it gets dark at like 4:45.
Yes.
And it's like, when did it ever get dark at 4? Like, I feel like it's like pushed back even
farther, and it's like 6 o'clock. I'm ready to go to bed.
Yeah,
like,
me too.
Me?
Yeah.
And it's like, that usually lasts like a day or two, right? And you know, that time change in October used to be my favorite one because it was an extra hour of bar time when I was in college, right? And then when the kids were little, it's like, yeah, I can trick them and then go to bed an extra hour early. But now it's just, this time change is hard. Now, I heard that Congress is toying around with the idea of getting rid of it.
Oh, that would be fantastic.
It takes an act of Congress to do that.
But there's something bigger than that. That's what I'm saying. Like, there's something bigger happening here. It's not just 1 hour. Like, I'll give you an example. My cat meows every night at 5:30 for his dinner. He doesn't care where I am. He will meow till he gets fed. And like, he'll find me. He'll, like, you know, scratch at me. And it's 3:30. And I'm like, excuse me, like 2 hours, and it's consistent. And he's like adamant, like, no, it's my time to eat. And I'm like, why? Like, and he's consistent. And it's just like things, like little things like that show me, like, if their schedule is off by several hours and the sun is setting way earlier, it's something bigger than just that hour time change. Something's off. I don't know.
So my cats are doing the same exact thing. And they're, you know, cats are like, they're very rhythmic. They're doing the same exact thing, almost 3 hours prior to when we usually feed them. And I have noticed 4:45, 4:50, and it is pitch black, where that, like, you know, and I'm, you know, down south, right? And so are you, Sherri, where I'm not used to those times until maybe like late January, beginning of February, almost. Like it's awful, but I like the sun. I don't like the darkness. But yeah, it's insane. And this is the first year, just like you, Laura, I've always looked forward to this one because I genuinely feel like I get an extra hour of sleep. And not this time around, I was more tired. It felt like it was spring where we we spring forward. I had that this time, and I have no idea why.
Yeah, I don't know. Everybody's been talking about that in the chat too, which is, so we're not the only ones. We're all feeling it. So what is it with this time distortion we're experiencing? Where is it coming from? Is it part of the Schumann resonance? Is it something different? And I don't know.
I think it could be a collection of things. And I've heard a lot of people saying like 6, 7 o'clock, they're in bed and they actually go to bed hours and hours before. I mean, it's still happening today.
Is there a universal exhaustion happening?
So when you asked that question, the first thing that came into my head was the timeline. This has something to do with where we're at. So I closed my eyes and just kind of fell into that. And it is really weird because what they showed was we're almost in this like tiny little offshoot of this timeline. And because what they're showing me is like things are still getting like tweaked over here.
I get that.
So we're kind of like in a weird pause holding space.
Like holding. Yeah.
And then we're going to go boom, and then we're going to rejoin that major timeline. But again, like it's so tiny off to the side. And it's really interesting because I'm saying it's like crystalline pixelated timeline, right?
I see what you're saying. Yes. And you're right. So our timeline shifted heavily with the election. Mm-hmm. It just did.
It did.
And did we get pulled out a fraction to reset some other things? And then we go back and that totally resonates with me.
Yeah. does. I think we're on the right track here. So,
And
perhaps-
solar flares, there have been a lot of those too.
Yeah.
I mean, so my internet, I could barely work at my office yesterday because my internet was down to 1 bar, and even in my home down to 1 bar, and we got smoked with an X2 flare yesterday. So I don't know if it was messing up with all of your Wi-Fi's yesterday, but my Wi-Fi was a mess everywhere.
Oh, I finally have good Wi-Fi. I live out in the middle of nowhere, which I love. And we're the last stop for the cable company, period. And I talked to you, Sherri, about it. It's like I ended up getting Starlink. And it's like, oh my God, I can upload and download things. It doesn't take 5 hours anymore.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. I'll say my phone. So my husband shifted to T-Mobile, and T-Mobile works all off Starlink.
Oh, really? Oh, I didn't know that.
Mhm.
Interesting.
So I mean, I have gone into the core of a mountain and my phone doesn't drop.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Now, iPhones also have satellite capabilities, by the way. If that gets shut down, every iPhone, I think it's 12.
I want to ask you guys, have you been watching what's going on the global stage? Do you guys keep up with that?
I'm here and there.
Yeah, very much so.
I feel like there is a complete and total just flat out lies that on one side they're putting out where none of it is real, but there's just like trying their hardest. And then you have the polar opposite over here, which like you have video, so what I mean by that is a news article, right? So we're not showing any video evidence of it. We're not, showing evidence, but news article of things looking like a certain faction is still doing this. But then my eyesight is seeing on video a totally different thing going on. And that is everything is moving in the right direction and everything is all positive. And so it's interesting. I'm on X all the time. And so it's interesting to watch these two little teeter-totters of what's going on. And I mean, I laugh at both of them.
I follow global, local, national politics because everything is politics. Every dimension, every realm has politics in it. The angelic realms have politics. Look at an archangel, right? The lower realms have politics too. Mm-hmm. The lower realm entities answer to their bosses, who answer to this, who answer to that. So it's politics everywhere. So studying politics, we can't escape it. We think once we're dead, we can escape politics. Wrong.
Yeah.
I wish, right? But there's a lot of shifting happening, and look over here while we're messing with something over here kind of thing. And but it's starting to calm down. And I'm just going to bring it up again. When Trump won the presidency, if we look at what's being portrayed in the news, it's as if he's already running the country.
Yeah.
We have not heard one word from Biden except him being shown sleeping in some Angola thing where he donated $1 billion.
Yeah.
That's all we've heard from him. Yeah. And get this, his little spokesperson, Jean Pierre, Karine Pierre, whatever her name is, Congress is trying to take away her salary for being deceitful and lying to the American people.
They are finally, they're going at her in these press conferences.
Yeah. And so this is a big deal. And it tells me that things are shifting and changing. Mm-hmm. And Trump needed 4 years off to reassess everything. The first time around, I think he did a pretty good job, but he was so contaminated with all the crap around him. This time he could get that away from him, and now he can really focus.
Yeah.
Already we're looking at red dye number 5 being removed from our food supply.
Oh my God, so many things.
All food dyes.
Starting with red and then going through it, but all of them. Looking at the vaccine schedule and what's in those ingredients and all of these things to make America healthy again. I mean, he went from Fauci to RFK Jr. Can you be more polar opposite?
I know. And the thing I love too, Elon talks all the time about NPCs.
Yeah.
I know he does. He says it more than anyone else, I think. And it's so nonchalant. Like it's just part of the conversation. Like it's normal, which I love.
Yeah.
It's It's going to be fabulous. And, when you're talking about politics, it's so interesting because, when I was in college, my degree, I wanted to be a political commentator on the news. I was going to go to law school in journalism, and I wanted to be another Megyn Kelly. So my mind, I'm just very interested in that. And I think it is because that's what I did before I came here. Like, I know what work I was doing, but I've seen in sessions where people are like, God, like, what am I doing in the astral? I'm always so exhausted and tired, blah, blah, blah. And all my clients, these will be the people that were in the programs, right? And so I've seen they are spending, not that I'm saying they still are, but there were years of their life spending testifying in front of every single council, every group. I mean, it is mind-numbingly redundant because no one trusts one another. Like, you think they would be more efficient. And like, at this stage of the game, I mean, this is the work that I do privately, is dealing with different groups. Like, would you just work together? Like, we don't have time for you to still be playing this. Why can't you get your collective blunk together? And so it's like testifying. And and the souls that are stepping in, like, that chose to come here and do this and to experience what they've lived through and to do this. These are old souls. So they get frustrated too, so I see that it is, the politics are mind numbing, and it doesn't go away with higher dimensionality.
No, it'd be nice. And by the way, Ramona just asked a great question. Do you think Leah can join us at the retreat for Zoom one day? I think we need to ask her.
Oh, we
In
should.
fact, you know what? The three of us are going to bombard her with a phone call.
Well, I think she would be. I talked to her the other day. She was in good spirits, and she's going through some stuff, but she's doing really great. So I think we might be able to convince her. We'll see.
Yeah, excellent. Yeah, she's got some family she's got to take care of, and she can't really leave. So I think that's fantastic, Ramona. Thank you for that question.
Yeah, that would be amazing, and we will get right on it.
And I asked her the other day if she would be willing to join one of the next ones, and she said absolutely. So she's definitely on board for the future ones.
She is. The timing just didn't work out, and again, it's all about time.
All about timing.
Yeah. And I mean, this first retreat, we're doing it in the middle of the winter down in Florida, so people can escape the cold, escape the snow, and come down into some nice warmer weather, get into some really good vitamin D sunshine. And then our next one, we're going to go out to San Diego. We're going to go over to the West Coast. So yep. So if you guys can't make Florida, go ahead and start signing up for San Diego, because we are going to do that one.
We're going to do a wait list on that one to get started with. And I've got a lot of San Diego people that are really excited about that. So
yeah, awesome. I know. Well, I already have someone on the wait list too. So yep, for San Diego.
Yeah. And it's just great to build the community and to find people who are like-minded and find people who are experiencing similar things, because a lot of times we can't have these conversations with just anybody.
Yeah.
And it's a very lonely place to be. I think it's coming out more and more now, but there's still a lot of fractured families out there and fractured friendships out there. And it becomes very isolating at times. And so for this, the ability to make new friends and establish new community, I think is just so invaluable in these times, especially as we're hitting this golden age.
Yeah. Because
we can keep the conversations and keep the community going.
Yeah, absolutely. And, and again, you're giving yourself the time to do it, the time to go in and be quiet. And again, like, just get messages from you. I actually was thinking about, again, I was watching from Gladiator today. But so in part of the movie, and the first one too, right? So they showed spirit coming in and giving them strength, right? For part of it. And it's just reminding everyone that it's what I would call your hidden team, right? The hidden team. And, Laura was talking earlier, before we jumped on here, how her team really helped her out recently. And it's just when we can begin to see them and hear them and feel them for ourselves, we are reminded that I am never alone. Yeah. I am always supported, and they're only there to help me. They're just there to help you. And I mean, you know, we talk about pets so much. It's that unconditional love.
Yeah, absolutely. Bob, my circles become more of an arc. I get
Yeah,
that.
I like that.
Yep.
It's true. It's
Yep.
true. One thing I am seeing more in my sessions too, because for the longest time, people are kind of the Lone Rangers in their area. They're feeling really isolated, just like you mentioned. But I really feel something shifting. And now people, even if it's just a person, or even if it's just people around them, like this person, this woman maybe saying that there are people around them that were closed off that suddenly are entertaining even the idea or open to maybe talking about it. You know, like that's a step. And so you're not really the weirdo anymore. People are looking to you like, well, you remember you were talking about that one thing that time? You tell me more about it. You know, it's like those seeds that we planted forever ago are starting to sprout a little. And so now they're coming back with questions. So I see a trend in that, especially coming next year, where people are finding their tribe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
well,
it's good.
Yeah, it's, you know, and the thing about a tribe is that it feeds your batteries. It lifts you up, and a tribe helps you to expand out. You know, whenever I was talking with a colleague yesterday about just doing some self-healing, you know, in a small group, and this visual came through, and I know it came from the Druids, but they would sit in a circle with, you know, again, I always go back to like the importance of like touching knees, right? So we need to keep that circle connected all the way through the energy body. But the visual of calling energy down into the circle, right? This vortex, you know, like calling it, all your energy, your collective wishes, intentions are calling and bringing that energy and vortexing it through that vortex. It's building and it's growing. And then as it comes down into that circle, boom, and then it spreads out and it just comes into that heart complex, into that chakra, and then it brings in that alignment, because it's not just you alone, it's the whole tribe. It's everyone holding in that intention in that space, and it builds and builds and builds, and boom. So it, you know, it's the, you know, it's just holding hands, like the holding hands. They're giving like the holding hands, right? It builds in strength.
There's power in a circle, and it's infinite. And the holding of the hands is so symbolic, because we're feeling each other's energies. We don't shake hands to, you know, be nice, but we shake hands to feel people's energies, right? Are they trustworthy or not? Yeah. This is a great question, Ramona.
It is a great question. I was thinking about it as you were talking. And the first thing that jumped out to me I was like, just come with an open mind, an open heart, and be willing to surrender to just about anything, and have that courage to like step into a new version of yourself, and you know, put in it, and being ready to put in the work. And you know, we're trying to put on a safe, sacred space. And Laura and I and Abby are very in tune with each other as far as safety, and creating a beautiful, sacred space for all of us, including us. I mean, we want it to be sacred for not only those attending, but for us as well. And so that we can put our guards down and have the ability to surrender and release fear, but come together as this group. Because whenever you do things like this, people just get so close to each other, and it's like a family when you leave, and people end up connecting for a long time or forever afterwards. So it's like leaning, because I believe this wholeheartely, zero questions. I know for a fact that anybody and everybody that's meant to go to this particular retreat is already been decided. It's divine timing. It's divinely orchestrated. So everybody that will be there on some level has already decided to go and will be there. Even if you haven't bought the tickets yet, your consciousness has attached to this, because this is the group that has been created for this particular experience, for the necessary healing that will occur together as a group and individually. And we will all benefit from it. I will benefit just as much as everyone else, just like these ladies here. So it's just about coming in and being ready and embracing the experience, because the more you do that and the less you resist, the more you will get from it. I promise you, because I have I've been to so many retreats, and I've also hosted And so I've been on both sides, and it really matters the kind of the energy and mindset you bring.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
And
then
go ahead, Abby. Go ahead.
I just want to say, so, Ramona, yeah, this is a beautiful question. It is. And I think anytime when you're about ready to go and, you're wanting to have an experience, it's good to write out your intentions, 1 to 2 weeks prior. Begin really thinking about, like, what is the end goal? What am I wanting to experience? What is my soul wanting to get out of this? What am I wanting to bring more into my life? And then for each person attending, you will be, I'm going to be sending out an album. It's a Solfeggio, it's a frequency album, and everything was purposely created to help you connect in with your higher self. So just listening to that every day leading up to this retreat will begin to help shift those brainwaves, shift those frequencies to get into that energetic alignment. And again, as you're listening to this, maybe 10, 15 minutes a day leading up to this, writing out those intentions. And what you're doing when you do that is you're going up into that quantum, right? Just like Sherri was saying, it's already, everyone who's going to go it's already been decided, right? It's already there. It's already working it out. But what you're doing is you're going up into that quantum and you're building that energy so that it comes in and it is grounded into that moment.
Yeah.
Sorry, Laura, what were you going to say?
Basically the same thing. What do you want to get out of it? Think about what you want to get out of it. Think about what you want to learn. How do you want to grow? What, aspects of yourself do you want to develop? And we get to create this together. We have a definite agenda that we'll be seeing. So it's not all loosey-goosey, airy-fairy, but there's a lot there that we get to do. And what I really like about small groups like this is that they're so powerful. Yeah. In those larger groups, they can be a lot of contamination, a lot of needing to clear certain rooms before you get into the room because they're inhabited by whatever. So in this case, because it's a small group, we get to go take deeper dives faster. Because we're all coming in and it's a small group and of like mind. There's in the bigger conferences and stuff, they can get a little rough sometimes with contaminations and things like that. But with the smaller groups, not so much.
Yeah. And that's the reason why, we chose to host this at a home. So, everyone will be coming into a home environment versus a hotel environment. So, yeah. And we'll be able to hold that space.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm excited to get to do some tribal toning.
Oh, I can't wait. Your voice is absolutely incredible. And for those of you that haven't heard it, man, it knocks your socks off. Do people still say that? I don't know.
They just did.
It's amazing. Honestly, I've never heard anything like it. My soul moved when I heard her do Abby, when I heard you the first time. I didn't even know it was you. The first time I really heard it was at the Journey to Truth conference this last time. And I was like, who is that? It could literally, I felt my soul leave my body for a second. It was just a life-changing experience for me. I was like, who is that? And they were like, Abby. I was like, of course it was. Why would I even ask? I just knew immediately. Oh my God. It's incredible. Absolutely incredible.
I don't think it's a journey to the conference anymore unless people are hearing me just singing through the mountains going down.
Yes, it was. That's what it was.
At midnight. And both of you will be speaking this year at Journey to Truth in May. So if anybody wants to go there, it's going to be a beautiful, great time. Both of you are speaking at that conference.
Yeah, it'll be a good time.
Yeah, it will be a really good time. Oh, and then, okay, so Ramona wanted to know how many are attending. Honestly, guys, it's already almost halfway filled up. And we're expecting about 25 people, 25 to 30 people.
Yeah.
So,
yes. Not too much. I mean, that's a good group is what I'm saying. That's a good number.
It's a perfect number. Yes. That is a very intimate, good number because we will be doing some break-off groups as well, throughout that so that people can practice and do work with others. And yeah, it's a great, I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be incredible.
I can't wait.
Yeah.
Me too, by the way. And you know what the best part is? Well, the second best part is that my hairdresser from San Diego moved down to Florida. So afterwards, I'm getting my hair done. She lives in Tampa. For anybody who is near Tampa,
Tampa.
She's awesome. Message me.
Actually, okay, I'm glad that you brought hair up. I'm getting my hair done tomorrow.
Yeah,
But,
mine's kind of shaggy right now.
That's why I have my hair up. Has y'all's hair been changing, growing rapidly? Have you seen changes in it? I've already cut 9 inches off my hair in a matter of like a 4-month period. And it was as if I had cut nothing off of my hair. I can't keep on top of the root growth. It's growing in, like my daughter's hair, her color is even changing. It's growing in with almost like this coppery red color. It's lightening up. And I don't know, it's just been reported like people are noticing changes.
Yeah, I'll tell you the reason why, because I even wrote a chapter in my last book about it, and I'm seeing it more and more. Our hair holds information like codes, just like the Akashic records. It's an extension of ourself. And as we are embracing this higher version of ourself and shifting in our density of consciousness, our hair is expanding, and we're bringing more light codes in and more. It's getting, and some of the old is coming out, and because a lot of people don't want to trim their hair because the length matters to some people based on their spiritual lineage and their belief systems and things like that. And the reason for that is because they know that the hair holds energy and they don't want to cut it. And so, but people are called to cut it now, even when they didn't want to before, because they're cutting out the old frequencies as the new frequencies come through. And the color changes, like the colors, I break it down in my book, what the different colors mean and the different styles of hair. So if you're naturally straight hair, naturally curly hair, naturally wavy hair, naturally this color, there's a meaning and significance to the color. So the color changing actually has something to do with your level, not your level, that's not the right word, your consciousness and what you're focusing on at that given moment. And I was in this line with this amazing little girl at the grocery store the other day. She had to have been 5, and she was so cute. She was asking her dad 1,000,002 questions about everything. And he was so patient, and he just answered every question. He was so nice. And she was right behind me. My hair's really long. And she's like, why is her hair so long? And why is it that color? It was so cute. I love children because they have no filter. And I just turned around and I smiled at her. And he was like, well, and he's like, why does anybody have any color hair? And I wanted to be like, turn around and answer him, but I just let it be. But anyways, there's a significance to the rapid hair growth right now.
Interesting. Okay. Thank you.
Well, all right, Sherri, I'm going to throw this one at you because this has kerfuffled me.
Bald people? No, I'm kidding.
So my oldest she came in with naturally curly hair, thick for days. She could probably provide 5 wigs from the amount of hair on this child's head. So thick, curly, wavy hair. The bottom portion almost like, it wouldn't even absorb water. Honestly, it wouldn't. It was in a completely different texture on top. She has completely shifted. It is again, like the color is changing. It's more light coming in now. It is fine. It is bone straight. And she's lost probably like half the density in it. I mean, it's my hair now. It looks just like my hair. I mean, she did a complete 180 on it. And it blows my mind. And she's done that in the past year. And she's 17. So.
Yeah. Well, when you have super thick, dense hair, it's like you're absorbing a lot of information and a lot of things are coming through. So you're receiving, but you're also transmuting. So people who have like really thick hair tend to be transmuting a lot of energy or not energy, but transmuting a lot for their ancestry. So she could have been taking a lot and transmuting a lot. But when your hair gets really thin and really straight, that is you becoming more rigid in who you are. So people who have very straight hair tend to be very confident, very independent people, and very like stuck in their ways, almost like maybe even a little bit stubborn because like they're less rigid. People with wavy hair tend to be a little bit more flexible, and they're kind of in this like in between phase. People with really, really, really curly hair are like they're just absorbing so much information. There's so many things happening that they're not really sure. So they're going through lots of revolutions of change and cycles. And so we could talk for hours just about hair. So it sounds like your daughter was transmuting a lot, receiving a lot of information, shifting. And then when her hair got thin and straight, she's more solidifying who she is as like, this is who I am now. And yeah.
And she has, like, that was 100% dead on. She is so laser focused, completely knows who she is.
Mhm.
That's dead on. And, just even for, myself, when I stepped into this work, I started growing my hair out super, super long. I did not want to cut my hair at all. And it was so instinctual for me to have really, really long hair. So people are still shocked that have known me my whole life, how long, when they see me, how long my hair is, because I used to every year cut it and keep it around my shoulder.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. Well, I just want to say something really quick so the men aren't like worried, because I get this question a lot when people hear me talk, especially when I talk about long hair. Well, what about men? Because they have short hair, and your body always compensates. You'll find something else to compensate with. So that's why we have such an influx of men with beards, or their body hair, or nails and skin. So there are other ways that our body can receive light codes and hold energy. Our teeth, but for women are the creators, the divine feminine, the bringers of life. So we have more naturally for a reason. Men, it's just a different energy that works with men.
Yeah.
Interesting. And this and so much more over that weekend retreat.
Yeah. Maybe I'll break it down some more. It'll be fun.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So that's just a taste, y'all, of everything that we're going to be covering at the retreat. Thank you, guys.
There'll be a quiz on the hair. No, I'm kidding. No, in all seriousness, though, this is what makes it fun, are these breakout conversations too.
Yeah, who would have thought we would have gone there? That was really fun.
Yeah. Hannah in Tampa, go see her.
Well, thank you guys so much for coming on. Again, for everyone listening, go to awakenandalign.net and book it. If you need a payment plan, you guys can do that. If you want me to hold your spot, we can. It's about half filled right now, but we would love to see y'all there. It's going to be a great weekend, and we're really, really excited for bringing in and holding something really special, really special. So, we're going to, focus on it's the personal growth and even just the professional growth, right? Like, so where do we go after this? Where do we, giving you the tools? It's not just, oh, we're done on Sunday, go home and then, figure it out, right? It's a continuation. So thank you guys so much.
Thank you all for watching tonight and participating in the chat. It's been fun.
Yes. Yeah. Thanks.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you for spending time with us today.
Yeah. Yeah. And you're welcome, Zach. So, all right. We will see you guys next time. I'm sure we're going to do another one of these, the round table again. And we're going to, keep everything. Go ahead.
Can I say one thing before we finish? I want to put in a plug. My new book is out for children. It's called Divinely Guided Children. It's number 10 in the series, and it's called The Chakras. It just came out. It's so cute, and it teaches children about the chakras, what they mean, where they are, in a really fun way with the Divinely Guided Children group of Aramis, Skylar, Jordan, and Vivian. The characters just came out, book number 10, and I love it. It's I think my new favorite. So check it out. It's on Amazon. It's a great Christmas gift or holiday gift, or just something to add to the library for kids around the age of really birth, if you want to read to them, but like 5 to 8-ish are like the kind of the target range age group.
That's perfect. And Laura, you also, Sherri, I saw that book. It looks amazing. It looks amazing. Anytime that you can take a complex subject and bring it down so that the kids can understand it, that's a hard job. So thank you so much for producing that series. And Laura, you have your book out as well.
I've got 2 books out that just came out pretty much simultaneously. And the first one is basically how the unseen energetic world works, how these unseen energies affect us, how they work. And the other one is basically the beginning of my life story from basically my journey from teacher to exorcist, and how I got there. And it's full of stories, and it's full of a lot of concepts and ideas to help people that are struggling in those same ways that I was in the beginning. I mean, when I was dealing with ghosts, it's like, oh my gosh, that's such a big deal. And I was like, yeah, whatever. It's an evolutionary process for everybody. So it's just designed to help everybody. And it's full of these stories that I went through. from these weird little 3-headed crocodile things roaming around the house to the angels showing up and lecturing me to all kinds of stuff. So, yeah,
It's amazing.
Thank you, Abby. Yeah.
Yeah, I got to get them too.
Oh, this will break your guys' heart. My daughter came home from school yesterday, and one of her classmates saw a spirit sitting on a bench out at recess time, and she recognized who it was. There was a prior student that had passed away. I don't know how many years ago, but she recognized her, and she was like, "Oh my God, she's sitting right there." So she's like, I saw her spirit, and all the kids started making fun of her, started laughing at her and saying that she was crazy. And obviously, you know, my daughter, who can see things and has a mother who does this work, she just went up and just gave her a big hug and said, "It's okay. You know, like that you saw her." So yes. So this is why, I mean, I love these books coming out to and to encourage and support these children and these adults who more and more people are all going to be having these experiences and looking to understand them. And so all of these books are just it's a good guidance to feel not alone. So
yeah,
thank you. Yeah. Thank you so much. All right, guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you, and have a wonderful evening. Thanks.
All right.
Bye.